everyone, it's me, Noah Meehan of the Arc Truth, and I like to say Happy New Year. I'm pretty sure that we can agree that 2024 is probably going to be one of the craziest years, especially since it's the election. Hence why I'm talking about the issue of Trump on the ballot, specifically with what happened in Maine and Colorado. But I would prefer to give white pills whenever I can. So let's go break down the entire situation. Overall, here's the background for those who don't already know, and I'm kind of summarizing the situation. There, in Colorado specifically, originally there was a lower court judge that allowed Trump to be on the ballot. However, in her opinion, she specifically said that Donald Trump committed insurrection. However, she said that the 14th Amendment does not apply to presidents, only to offices under the president, like Secretary of States or Attorney Generals, whatnot. So she used that kind of loophole as an excuse to remain on the ballot. But then there was an appeal to the Colorado State Supreme Court, and to a 4-3 decision, which by justices that were appointed by Democrats, they said that Trump committed insurrection and thus cannot be on the primary ballot. And then a few days later, where on the same day, due to the fact that Donald Trump appealed this decision to the Supreme Court, it's now not only did Colorado stay the decision, and in effect, it's going to leave Donald Trump on the ballot until the Supreme Court actually, well, again, makes a decision. But on that same day, the Secretary of State of the state of Maine decided in her own power, in her own opinion, that Donald Trump was not to be allowed on the primary ballot, in Maine. And of course, Donald Trump appealed that. And this has rightfully gotten so much criticism because you're effectively taking away the right of people to choose whoever they want to vote for the presidency. And it doesn't help with the fact that Donald Trump is the major contender within the Republican Party. And the fact that apparently the Democrats have this power in order to interfere in party elections does not help that. I know that a lot of people are focusing nationally on this as well as within the state as well, which rightfully is so. But if you think about this from a much more political take, this is the Democratic Party interfering specifically in Republican primaries. They're interfering because they have control of certain states, again, Maine and Colorado. They're allowed to do whatever they want. They're allowed to change up the rules, and whoever can be on the ballot. They're effectively interfering with their political opponents. That you cannot tell me that this is a democratic process. It's completely opposite, because last time I checked, the whole entire point of having the political opposition means that they're allowed to field whatever the candidates they want, and you don't have to have a say, and you do not have a say because you're the opposing party. And I know that there's a big difference, especially since Colorado has a primary system instead of a caucus system. Which, to clarify, primaries are allowed for people who can vote within that specific state, while caucuses, while they kind of have the same thing, are allowed only for that specific party. For example, if I think Iowa has a caucus system, so that means that only Republican voters in that state can vote within that party election. But the good news is that I have just recently, on January 5th, 2024, which is the day I'm making this video, the Supreme Court is going to be taking up this very case. And I am honestly kind of happy because I'm pretty sure everyone knows how insane of an idea that this whole procedure is going on. How apparently without any true conviction, Donald Trump can just be wiped away from the ballot, whether it's the primary or the general. Right now, they're just focusing on the primary in both the states of Maine and in Colorado. And the fact that there's a consistent effort nationwide goes to show that this is such a major issue. Right now, there are places like Massachusetts, Illinois, and if I think I recently heard about 2 days ago that they actually dropped the issue. The judge immediately dropped the issue in the state of Illinois. Probably considering the fact that this was the cases of Colorado and Maine were on appeal to the Supreme Court. So, yeah, I mean, it's obvious that there's a nationwide effort, and there's so much talk within the news about this. But, in all honesty, it is very likely that the Supreme Court, in fact, I would say 95% sure, just based on my own personal opinion and just based upon the law of the land, at least as it should be, the Supreme Court will effectively overturn these stupid decisions made by the Secretary of State in Maine and the Colorado State Supreme Court. Of course, the Democrats are going to try to use the 14th Amendment, specifically Section 3, where it bars convicted insurrectionists from holding office. But I like to think that the Supreme Court is probably going to be much smarter than that, because here's the thing. I do not think that Section 3 should be overturned or anything like that. In fact, I would argue that it should be in place, even though that it was effectively drawn at the end of the Civil War. But here's the thing: the Supreme Court could easily don't overturn these results without violating something like the Insurrection Act, or not really violating, without overturning the Insurrection Act, and without having problems with Section 3. And that's because of the 14th Amendment itself. Now, again, Democrats like to proclaim about Section 3 of the 14th Amendment. What they don't tell you is that there are 5 sections. 5. And specifically, Sections 1 and 5 are the most likely parts of the law, which I think that the Supreme Court could easily use in order to side with Trump on. Specifically, Section 1, in all intents and purposes, no citizen, and I'm just paraphrasing, no citizen will have their liberty, their property, etc. be taken away without due process of law. That's the specific gist of Section 1. And then Section 5, Section 5 grants the Congress, the ability to enforce this rule. In other words, they can effectively hold this situation give this situation to Congress. I mean, after all, it was kind of already the case with the whole the second impeachment bullshit, without coming to many blows. But of course, there's going to be a lot of leftoids out there that are just going to be like, oh my God, the Trump Supreme Court Trump had the Supreme Court with its own allies to effectively overturn our democracy and yada yada yada. It's obvious that's going to be the case. But in regards, the law is on Donald Trump's side, and I would not be surprised if the Supreme Court would rule in favor of Donald Trump. The question being, which of the 9 justices will side with Trump? Now, of course, we got the Supreme Court justices that he chose: Neil Gorsuch, Brett Kavanaugh, Amy Coney Barrett, those 3. And Clarence Thomas, that would be number 4. And Roberts, the definite rhino on the Supreme Court, so let's just say that out loud, he will definitely, I would think that he would side with Donald Trump to a reluctant degree, and Justice Alito as well. The other 3 are obviously liberals, whether appointed by Biden, of course. And but the thing is, I'm not even entirely sure if they will. I'm not even, despite the fact that they don't like Trump, I'm not entirely sure if they would go so far as to not be on his side in regards to the law. It just, I don't know. I could be absolutely wrong. 100%. There could be at least 1, 2 people, but I would not be surprised if at least one liberal justice decides to go and rule in Donald Trump's favor. But overall, it's clear that Donald Trump will have this appeal to the Supreme Court, and it will be ruled on. I'm expecting that Donald Trump will have the Supreme Court overturn these interferences within the election. My name is Noah Meehan of The Arc Truth. Please post your comments down below, like this video, subscribe, share with friends. Also, if you have any issues regarding my videos, such as how to speak or whatever, please post it in the comment section down below or directly message me. Thank you.